During the long development of Duke Nukem Forever, there were plans to remake Duke Nukem 3D from the ground up on the Unreal Engine. I was like 11 when all of this was going on, and I don't think I played Duke 3D until a little later. That being said, Duke Nukem 3D is one of my favorite games of all time, and the idea of remaking it would have been very exciting to me in like 2011. Duke Nukem Next Gen was its original title, however it was changed to Duke Nukem Reloaded sometime later on, which is what 3D Realms are calling all of their remakes apparently, with Kingpin Reloaded and Sin Reloaded. Speaking of 3D Realms, they weren't directly involved with this proposed remake at the time. The head of Interceptor Entertainment, Friedrich Schreiber, got the ball rolling on the project and put up a post showing a test of the game on the Gearbox forums. Now, the screenshots that are available to us looked alright, and it seemed like they were just going to do a straight up graphical overhaul of the original game with no added content or anything. Looking back, I would have personally preferred Interceptor to do their own thing with Duke Nukem 3D, since we already have the original to go back to already. Also, I don't think any modern graphics can compete with that iconic sprite-based art style on the build engine. But in retrospect, it is nice to see Friedrich pay homage to arguably the best first-person shooter ever made with this remake. I respect the man for trying to give Duke Nukem, and FPS fans in general, something to look forward to. Duke Nukem Reloaded would contain 3 episodes, just like the original game before the Atomic Edition of course, and it would also feature a fully fledged multiplayer component, to quote the official Gearbox forum announcement. That being said, unfortunately Duke Nukem Reloaded was doomed from the start. Why, you may ask? Well, Duke Nukem Forever. Point blank. Initially, Duke Nukem Reloaded seemed like it was actually going to get made. Friedrich convinced Scott Miller that the project was a good idea, and he got, quote, limited permission by Gearbox Software, the Duke Nukem rights holders, with a personal, non-commercial license to the property. By 2011 though, the same year that Duke Nukem Forever was released, the game was put on indefinite hold. Duke Nukem Reloaded was canned, due to either Duke Nukem Forever's poor critical reception, or possibly Gearbox being jealous of the remake looking better than Forever. I personally think it boils down to the fact that Duke Nukem Forever was a shit show, and Gearbox copped a lot of shit for it. So they didn't want to touch Duke for a long time, and didn't want to take a chance on a remake of one of the most beloved first-person shooters ever made. That all aside, I'm glad that this remake didn't happen for one specific reason, which I'll get to now. After Duke Nukem Reloaded was cancelled, Interceptor started working with Apogee on a Rise of the Triad remake. Dave Oshry, the head honcho at New Blood Interactive, was researching and writing about the Duke Nukem Reloaded project at the time, while working as a freelance games journalist. He contacted Friedrich initially just to figure out what exactly went wrong with the Duke Nukem project, but before you know it, Dave was handed an NDA with Apogee's name on it, and then given the job as producer for the Rise of the Triad remake. Andrew Holschultz was previously working on the music for Duke Nukem Reloaded, but when that project was put into the bin, he still composed the Rise of the Triad remake soundtrack for Interceptor. So we have Andrew Holschultz and Dave Oshry. But where is the last member of this other triad that I'm alluding to? Well, when Rise of the Triad 2013 was released and received a pretty mediocre reception, a man known as David Szymanski was a fan of it and its overall jankiness. He was planning Dusk on and off during the mid-2000s apparently. When he started actually developing the game, he remembered the Rise of the Triad remake, and then sent a preview of Dusk to the one and only Dave Oshry. After he saw the preview, he wanted to produce the game alongside David. They brought Andrew Holschultz from Rot 2013 and Duke Nukem Reloaded on board to compose, and then the rest is history. Dusk has become one of the best shooters of this generation, and without Duke Nukem Reloaded getting cancelled, I'm not too sure if it would have come out the same way that it did. It's fucking weird how events play out sometimes, and as for Interceptor, they basically own 3D Realms now, with Friedrich rising up the ranks and becoming vice president. Although 3D Realms had a very rocky history during Duke Nukem Forever's development and long after, they are slowly putting the pieces back together. For one, publishing Ion Fury was a great step forward for the company. I hope that the upcoming Rise of a Triad remaster is great. I hope that the new Ion Fury expansion lives up to the base game, and most of all, I hope that these older game companies are still around for the foreseeable future.